Head coach Brian Flores talked about Tua entering his second year and said this: he's more comfortable with just his surroundings, more comfortable being in a huddle, giving a cadence, going through his communication, those little things that no one really talks about. He said this: he feels much more comfortable about doing those things. I think having a year under his belt will really help him. Let me bring the squad back in on this conversation. And Kimberly, I will start this one with you, because there were these whispers. I don't know exactly how real they were, that maybe they were in it when the Deshaun Watson conversation was taking place. And then we wondered about some of the other quarterbacks. What is your sense of how steady the ground is that Tua is standing on in Miami?
Greeny, I think it's very steady until it isn't. You know, it's on him now. This team, between Chris Greer, the GM, and head coach Brian Flores, they've set him up. This roster is set up for success now. They had an A-plus draft. You got Jalen Waddle. You got Notre Dame offensive tackle Eichenberg. They've made moves where Tua just needs to take the next step in his progression. But I will say, as confident as they are in Tua, and as much as Brian Flores is gushing about how Tua is developing, he needs to, because Brian Flores sort of opened the door last year when he benched Tua a couple times late in games in favor of Ryan Fitzpatrick, who we've seen had this up and down trajectory. That's where sort of the question started, like, how committed are they to Tua? Like, what's going on? Then you have an offseason where they can get quarterbacks. So that buzz, that was self-created, but right now they are confident in Tua.
That's a very interesting perspective on that. Paul, again, as one who covered every snap he took in college. Now, after 1 year, what is your sense of where he is at this moment?
I think he's about to make a huge step, Greeny. Yeah, he looked tentative last year. He was coming off an injury. He had an injury. He looked shaky at times. But I think, based on what I see, based on what I've heard from friends of his and coaches, he's about to break out. Now, that's easy to say in mid to late May, but I sense it with him, and he's a smart quarterback. He's a junkie in the film room, and I really think with Waddle on that team, that's somebody he feels comfortable with. He is set up for a huge second season.
What do you think, Jeff? We talk a lot about the second season for Joe Burrow, who's going to be healthy. We predicted Justin Herbert might be the MVP of the league. What do you think about Tua entering year two? Jeff?
I like it. I like where he is. I like where he's sitting. When you look at those plays, a ton of Tua's issues were him pulling the ball down, holding, waiting for that thing to open up, waiting to see the window. I think with comfort, with practice, with reps, I think those things come to quarterbacks, especially in their second year. When you think about Tua, I mean, really the scope of work, right? Was it 6 games or something last year? Even at Alabama coming off that injury, even his collegiate career, you don't see a ton of games. He has to work himself in. I think you see the talent is there, but give him time. I reflect back to Peyton Manning, right, in 1998. He led the NFL. I think he still leads the NFL in interceptions from a rookie quarterback. I know he played 16 games and all that kind of thing, but when you look at it, the Colts allowed him to develop and then surrounded him with talent. I see the Dolphins doing exactly the same. Flores understands. You got the tackle. You got another receiver. You're adding pieces and parts. This team was not ready to take a next step yet. It's ready now, and I think he's in a perfect position to take this team and lead. I agree with Paul. He's a smart quarterback. He'll pick it up and he'll make this thing work in a big fashion.
Well, I think you go back to what Kimberly said there. Yes, it is all set up for him, but there are also very high expectations for the team, much more so than in Cincinnati and even with the Chargers. So if things don't go in that direction, it might be the quarterback at whom they look. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.